Most podcast creators and agency owners think their podcast clips don't go viral because their editors, quote, aren't good enough. But that's almost never the real problem. Over the last 6 years working with Logan Paul and the Impulsive Podcast, AKA one of the biggest podcasts in the world, I've generated over 6 billion short form views. And I've learned something that people completely overlook. It's not about finding the perfect editor. It's about creating a system where any editor can be great. Today, I'll show you that exact system. By the end of this video, you'll learn how to turn average editors into elite clippers, the exact quality bar that we use to generate viral clips consistently, how to hire loyal editors, why most creators accidentally sabotage their editors, and how to incentivize editors to care as much as you do. This is the blueprint that I wish I had on my day one. First off, you're gonna wanna define what great looks like. If an editor has no idea, has nothing to strive for, has no great clip to look at, then he's lost. So here's what I recommend. I want you to create a one-page quality bar that includes these things. 3 to 5 perfect clips that you consider A tier, your title formulas, your pacing expectations, subtitle style, and formatting rules, what not to do, and then emotional clip examples. When I say emotion, I'm not saying every clip that you send them has to be of them crying, but I'm saying different types of emotional clips. Emotions can be something like hype emotion, or it could be crying emotion. It could be motivational, it could be funny, but I want you to give them a wide range of ideas of exactly the type of clips that you can make and they can make. This turns your creative vision into something that the editors can actually physically make. Without this, they're just guessing. And when you guess, you don't go viral. So when editors mess up, it's usually the system. Now let's get into an example without throwing anybody under the bus. This is an example that we did for Impulsive, and I noticed that once we published the clip, the framing was off. There was no lead room, the guest wasn't filling the full vertical frame, and on the first frame, most of the screen was a Gaussian blur, which a lot of times kills retention on vertical platforms. But here's the important part. It wasn't the editor's fault, it was the system's fault. I never told them why lead room matters, why there shouldn't be a Gaussian blur at the beginning, why when you're on a vertical platform, you should be posting fully vertical content. Once I explained the why, everything clicked. Mistakes disappeared, pacing improved, and revisions dropped drastically. Most creators or agencies would just say, fix this, rather than telling them why they should fix it. This single shift is what levels up your team as fast as possible. If you want your clip team to succeed, you need to get one thing straight, and that's that communication is the key to making viral clips. The most important skill on the job. Let me give you a list of some things that you need to make sure your editors are doing. Probably write this down yourself. Take notes, ask clarifying questions, repeat back instructions, care deeply about the content, triple check for errors, and ensure there's zero, I'm talking zero spelling mistakes. It's impossible to scale if your editors aren't detailed oriented. And also passion matters too. It's why I put it in there. You can't teach somebody passion. You can't teach somebody to care about the content. But when they do, everything becomes easier and faster, and you have a much better system because of it. So now you're probably asking, well, Caleb, how do I make it so I can relay those notes as fast as possible? How do I make it so when I'm actually saying something to him, it's actually getting to him and he's actually understanding it and things are streamlined as much as possible? There's multiple ways of going about it. First off is a very simplistic approach. Let's just say it's only like a 1 or 2 person team. Doing something over iMessage or Discord or even Slack is pretty simple. You can literally just screenshot your notes, send them over there, send a screenshot, send a little voice memo, send a little text and all that stuff. Or you can go a little bit of a more advanced route, which I would probably recommend. Have them upload it to frame.io, and then you give them notes within frame.io of exact timestamps within the video. Frame.io is honestly probably one of the best things because you're able to go and tell them at this exact spot, hey, from here to maybe here, I don't really like this animation. I need you to fix it. I don't like it because of this. Can you fix it? I don't think you could do anything like voice memos within frame.io. You can probably just relay that through Discord or iMessage or Slack, but just getting the nitty gritty things. Oh, there's an audio pop here. Make sure that you're improving all the different audio pops. Frame.io is going to be your best friend. So here's my experience on how I find reliable clippers. Here's the truth. Some of the best editors aren't posting on job boards. Likely you got to dig dig and actually find them. So let me put in some great spots where you can find editors. And I'm personally gonna rank them with how easy they've kind of been for me in this process. First off, we're gonna go with referrals. Referrals, number one, are probably the best method. This way, if you have friends that have already worked with somebody in the past and you know that they can do exactly what you're looking for them to do, easy hire. You just get their info from that friend and then boom, you got them hired. It's perfect. You also understand that A players tend to hang out with A editors, so it just makes everything so much easier. Next is gonna be Twitter or X. I mean, you can look up search terms like podcast editors, reel editor, short form editor, but to be honest, like that's not really that essential at the end of the day. Usually if you start engaging with some of those people within those segments, you'll start getting served up with their type of content, their short form content, possibly some of their reels for their long form content. And you can check out some of their testimonials, scroll on their feeds, see if they're a good person. And a lot of the time, if you DM them, they'll DM you right back right away. Next is gonna be Instagram DMs and also cold email. I found that within my personal account, I have been able to see that people will reach out to me. And I know I have that luxury of people reaching out to me within Instagram DMs, but people that reach out to me and they send me their work, or I tell them, okay, like you're not too bad. Like show me some of your work, show me some of your testimonials, and we can kind of go from there. Or if you find somebody who is a good editor, who maybe has all of their work on their page, send them a DM, see if they're looking for work, and then boom, you're all set. Also too, posting on your Instagram story and telling people, hey, DM me if you're interested in this job, or send me an email with all of these specifications and I'll see if you're a good fit for the job. Boom, you got somebody either Instagram or email. I think that's one of the best ways is email, like to see if they're serious or not, because it's easy for somebody to send a message on Instagram. It's a lot harder for somebody to actually go into their email. And when you actually do that, it makes it so there's a harder barrier to entry and people are more serious when they're actually submitting things to you. Next one is kind of gonna be along the similar lines as Instagram, but also it's gonna be like TikTok, somebody who's already making great content on TikTok. Editors, there's so many talented editors. A lot of them are making maybe highlight tapes and some of these unique videos. And so you may have to try and figure out how it can actually blend with your content and blend with podcast content, clipping content, but still useful to find top talent. You send them a DM, I bet you they're probably not working with that many people and you might be able to actually get in there. Next is gonna be online communities. I've seen editor communities. I've seen communities like mine. We have editors within here, within the viral podcast community. We have agency owners who are looking for editors and different people joining every single day, even creators who just are good at editing and might wanna actually take on extra work. I found that online communities are sometimes pretty scarce, and when you find a good one, a lot of people end up sticking together. They want to grow together. Those editors want to grow together. And I'll tell you right now, a lot of editors that came within my community are already talking with other agency owners within the community about how they can actually do jobs with them and create clipping with them and actually do their podcast trailers and just like clip for just all of these different things. So join a community. It doesn't have to be my specific community, but join a community and it can be extremely useful for you. Next is gonna be something like YouTube Jobs, Fiverr, and Upwork. All of them are pretty good options to try and find somebody with something like YouTube Jobs. And even I guess those other two, you're able to see some of the people that they've already worked with in the past that can be very good. A lot of times though, it becomes like kind of tough because people are charging a lot every once in a while for somebody that's like really good based on all of their testimonials. So if you're trying to find somebody that's maybe a little bit on the cheaper side, go with something like Twitter where they maybe have some good testimonials, but like they're not charging absolutely ridiculous prices. Oh, and then here's a little PS statement. What we did for Impulsive when we were looking for an editor is we actually had them send in 2 to 3 test examples of what they would do for the Impulsive podcast and tell them, hey, we need this style to be exactly like the style that we've already made in the past, okay? But put your little creative twang on it, and like, let's just see your creativity in the process. When you tell somebody that and you give them like a test scenario, that helps make it that much easier for you to try and pick somebody. And then you tell them, okay, like after you make these, either send them to me over DM or send them over to my email. Now this one, I almost get so confused why more agency owners and more creators who are trying to hire editors just don't even think about this. Why aren't you incentivizing your editors and your clippers with possibly a little bit of extra money or maybe even like some ownership if that editor has like a big part in it? Like, you need to incentivize them. So let's just say you have a clip, they do a very good job on that clip. and you tell them, okay, perfect, like this one, it did great, it got 1 million views. How about this? Next video that gets 1 million views, if it does get 1 million views, I'll give you a $50 bonus. You know how much more incentivized they're gonna be to make that next clip if you give them a $50 bonus? So much. And then you look at somebody who's maybe got more of like a 50-50 hand in creating your videos. I look at something like, I know this isn't within the podcast niche, but I look at something along the lines of Eric and Mac. And when Eric was starting his channel, it was him and Mac. Mac was the behind the scenes videographer guy, but also doing the editing as well. And they had, I believe, like a 50-50 partnership with the whole Eric channel. Not saying you need to do that with your editor, but just like giving your editor that extra little bump. Maybe you give them like 1% of the ad revenue that they bring in, then that could be very useful. But doing some sort of way to possibly incentivize your editor to do better and make even higher quality edits is gonna be so much more beneficial, because I'll tell you what, that $50 extra is gonna be sick for them. They're gonna not even expect that. And also on the other end of the spectrum, you are probably making more than $50 just for that video going viral and getting 1 million views in the first place. I'm just using $50 as an example. It doesn't have to be that much, but still think about it. It's a good idea at the end of the day. This honestly keeps editors competitive, focused, and fully invested into your channel. And you wanna know what's even better than all of this is when an editor is passionate, communicative, eager to learn, detailed-oriented, consistent, and loyal. And for those editors, trust me on this one, you don't wanna lose them. It's hard to replace a really good editor nowadays. Ownership creates long-term loyalty, higher quality work, more initiative, and better decision-making. People usually work harder when they're a part of something and not just completing normal tasks. So here are some of the final takeaways. If you want to build a world-class clipping team, this is what you need to follow. Define what great looks like, communicate why and not just the what, hire through referrals and testimonials, run test batches, incentivize performance, reward loyalty, and create a system where editors win. When you do that, you stop chasing good editors and create a system where you start pumping out great editors. If you want to learn more advanced lessons like this, or you just want to be around a group of creative editors, check out my viral podcast community. Tons of great people in there, tons of great agency owners, editors, podcast producers, creators, everybody in between to take your clips and your podcast to that next level. Click the first link and I'll see you inside.